And we are just at an all-time low today. I don't ask for much. I just ask for one run, and that's too much. Oh, I want to hear Michael. I want to hear this group talk at center field. I want to hear that. I want to hear what he's saying. I mean, golly. It could have been worse.
Could have got run ruled.
It could have been worse. So that's always a good takeaway, right?
Yeah. Did you mute us?
No, but I don't really care. It's fine. I mean, who cares? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. Congratulations, you made it through the nightmare that was this game. A&M was, I don't even know how to put it, you were thoroughly dominated by Auburn. You were shut out for the first time this season. I don't think we got shut out last year too. So this is the first time A&M has been shut out since last season. Uh, Second time Michael Early has been shut out as the head coach. Um, we have a lot to talk about. I watched, let's see, I watched probably 45 minutes of this game, which sounds crazy, but with the way that this game started, it started in a very familiar way. And you kind of just felt that this game was going to go a certain way from the second inning on. So, how much of this game did you watch, and how did you feel watching it, Tag?
Not great because because of the circumstances that occurred that we should not talk about. But no, I watched about 4 innings of this game and then wanted to not watch more because we every time A&M lose, it's been the same story, just a different game.
We are going to talk about the offense, you know, which was kind of the flashing red, like, oh no, kind of thing of the game. But we're going to start with starting pitching because we always start with starting pitching. This was same show, different episode for the starting pitching. Your A&M starting pitcher, Ethan Darden, was really good for about 5 minutes. And it's kind of been the similar story where the second one thing goes wrong, right? It's a walk, you give up a hit, give up a walk, you hit a batter, whatever it is, one thing goes wrong and things spiral. In the first inning, Ethan Darden strikes out the first two batters that he sees. Everybody's going, oh my goodness, Ethan Darden's on. Then he walks a batter and gives up back-to-back hits, and Auburn strikes first. Funnily enough, 1 run was all that Auburn needed because A&M would score 0 runs total in the game. I gotta find. This is still loading. I'm trying to click on Ethan Darden's stats. But
It
yeah,
was
I
one
mean,
inning. I know he
yeah.
went one inning plus because he came back out for the
There
second
we go.
and went walk to be or
Ethan
hit.
Darden. Ethan Darden went 1 inning, gave up 7 hits, two earned, four. That's wrong. It's four.
Yeah, no, it's four
Four
because
earned
the
runs.
producer he accounted for
Yep,
that
four
lines
earned
up.
runs. Yeah, 4 earned runs and walked 1 batter. Starting pitching was a similar story that we've seen all year, right? Just one thing goes wrong and the whole thing spirals. The frustrating thing about this game is you can't even call the pitching overall really bad.
No.
Auburn did not score in 5 of the 9 innings. So that's positive. But for whatever reason, I'll go on a rant on this in a second just about the pitching staff. But for whatever reason with this pitching staff, it is 1 inning. It is either the first, second, or third inning. It always happens pretty early. It's 1 inning where they give up a bunch of runs and A&M's offense is in a hole, which obviously it was an anomaly tonight that A&M did not score. But asking the offense to dig out of a 4 run hole, 5 run hole, 6 run hole, like really early against an elite pitching staff is too much to ask every game. The only other thing I'll say before you kind of share your thoughts on the starting pitching is that Auburn is really good. So we're not going to take that away from Auburn. This is really impressive from Auburn. Auburn can win the national championship. Auburn is a super regional host. Auburn is very, 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 very good. So credit to them. Um, but yeah, I mean, there were 2 different levels of play on this field tonight. There were 2 different leagues of baseball, and A&M was on the lesser end of that. So I went off track a little bit there. But yeah, what did you think about Ethan Darden?
Yeah, I thought after last weekend, I thought he'd turn a corner. Like Sunday or Saturday for that matter, he pitched really well, and I think everyone, or for I don't know, I'm going to speak for myself. I don't know. I felt very confident in him getting the ball today. I felt like it would have been a good outing, but baseball happens. Um, but he gives up like it's this 2 strike 2 out pitching that really gets everyone frustrated. Like he had Bingaman 0-2 in the first, walks him, then
Yep.
you hang a breaking ball to whoever it was, and then you hang one to Bub Terrell, and it's 1-0. And then another question mark is you have the base open to their best player, Chase Fralick, and you pitch to him and he hits the ball off the wall. So it's
Yep.
like I felt it was fine. I thought it was the right decision to give the ball to Darden, giving based on the circumstances that you were dealt with no Sims, which I thought is the correct decision. Why run him out there not 100
Oh
percent?
yeah, totally.
But for that matter, it is what it is. Texas did the same thing. That's how I like to. It's different approaches to the game. You saw a different approach from Auburn. They rolled out Marciano on Wednesday, and that worked out for them
Yep.
well. And they rolled out I forget his name, but he's just as good as he was in College Station.
Yeah, Auburn to me, I mean, I don't remember who said it before the game started. It was one of the announcers. Auburn looks like they want to win this tournament like it's the
Mm-hmm.
national championship. I mean, this was a de facto home crowd for Auburn. You basically played them on the road. The game is in Hoover. Um, I'm not saying that A&M didn't care. Like, I'm not saying that the players did not care about the game, but from just a body language standpoint, from showing frustration on the field, it just looked like from the jump, the second we went down, the team as a whole was sort of disinterested in the game, which is really frustrating. We don't know. I said this morning. Like, we do not know if A&M is going to be a national seed or not. I'm not going to say no, and I'm not going to say yes. We're going to be doing this with our fingers crossed on Monday. You just think that they would just play with a little bit more fight, you know, when maybe you are playing for a national seed in this game, depending on how Florida goes. But yeah, I mean, Auburn looked like they wanted to play the game more than you did. They looked like they wanted to win more than you did. They played better than you in every single facet of the game, and you were thoroughly dominated. So yeah, we talked about starting pitching. This is something I wanted. Oh, and this is the other thing. Auburn is, I don't remember exactly. This might be wrong. This is from memory. Auburn, I think, is like 34-4 when scoring more than 5 or more runs in a game
No, it
this
was 4
season.
runs. It was 4 runs. It
More than,
wasn't even
yeah,
five. No, they're
four or more
30.
runs.
going into today, they were 33-5 when scoring more than 4 runs in a game.
Yeah. So by the
That's not.
way, yeah. So
It's just in general.
statistically, this game was over in the second inning. The game was over in the second inning. They only needed one, obviously, because A&M didn't score. But yeah, like the story here is that if you want to go anywhere in the postseason, you have to start better because you're going to face really good teams with really good players. And even though the offense was obviously not good enough the entire game, like you have to get off to a better start because you're facing Andreas Alvarez, who was awesome, and we'll get to that. But like it's, A&M's offense is elite, obviously, and they have been all year. But sometimes when you face like a super good arm or just an elite pitching staff overall, it's going to take a few innings for the offense to get on them and score finally. Like it's just going to take a bit. And it's not fair to them when they're down 5-0, 4-0, or whatever it was in the second inning. It's not going to work. You're not going to go anywhere if that's what happens in the postseason.
Yeah, I'm gonna interject here. Like we talk about getting a better start. Well, if we're going off based on projections from D1 baseball, A&M's gonna host the regional, obviously, no matter what. But they're gonna host UC of Santa Barbara, California, Santa Barbara, and they have the best pitcher in the country, in Jason Flora.
Yeah.
And if that's the recipe for it, you're not going to be successful. We've seen it all year. Even yes, you dominated Valinkas, but you lost the game by a lot. Like, yeah, you did well. We performed well against Valinkas, but you lost by a touchdown. You faced Alvarez twice now. You're 0-2 against him. You faced Marciano. You're 0-1 against him. Like some of these elite arms, this offense has fared well in some of these big matchups like Ruger and Luke Harrison. But as a holistic standpoint, it hasn't been as good since the beginning of conference play.
Yeah. Okay. So this is the rant I wanted to go on about the pitching staff, and you can kind of like obviously interject or disagree or whatever. We're not going to make any freak out statements about firing people and all of that garbage. We're not going to do that. What I am going to say is that to me, watching these games, Aiden Sims and Clayton Freshcorn, maybe Gavin Lyons, are the only two arms that you feel good about out there. Like that's it for me. Everybody else, Shane Sadeo, Weston Moss, like you name it, everybody else has either regressed or is inconsistent, meaning that a lot of these guys have had really good moments, but as a whole, like holistically looking at the performance of everybody on the pitching staff, it's either been like this or like this. Okay. Grant Cunningham, you thought Grant Cunningham could help you this year. He has not been able to help you this year. You thought Juan Vargas could really help you this year. He has not been able to help you this year. Weston Moss has regressed. And I know that he might not be a starter and the Caden McCoy and all that stuff, but Weston Moss has not been great this year. Shane Sadeo is coming off of an injury, and that's really tough. He has also regressed this year, obviously. Statistically, like it's the worst starting pitching performance in the conference that I can ever even think of, to be honest with you. So as a staff in the offseason, you're going to have to look at this pitching room and go, guys, this is not an SEC caliber pitching staff that is going to win you games. Like it's just not. Like look around the league. I'll look at LSU, right? LSU has had their struggles this year. Their pitching has been inconsistent this year. But you know what they do have that's really consistent? Just about every guy that LSU has that they can roll out there is going to throw 97 miles an hour, and they can throw 4 or 5 different pitches for strikes. Okay. Look at the two pitchers on A&M's pitching staff that I named, Aiden Sims and Clayton Freshcorn. Those are guys that can throw, like Clayton Freshcorn can throw the ball over 95 miles an hour. Aiden Sims can throw 5 different pitches for strikes. That's SEC caliber stuff. And when you look at Ethan Darden or Weston Moss or some of these guys, it's like, okay, they have 2 or 3 pitches. They can throw a fastball maybe 92, 93 miles an hour. Like it's the stuff to me, like looking at the whole pitching staff is not SEC caliber. And that's been a problem.
Yeah, I think, and we know this better than like anyone. It will be addressed. Like it's not. We're not going to roll into next year and be like, "Oh, pitching's the problem." Because I guarantee you that this will be addressed. Whether they hit on these guys, we don't know, but we would assume that. Like you weren't going into the year expecting Weston Moss to be your second best starter. You weren't going in with Shane being your second best starter, in my opinion. You were rolling in there with expecting Sims to take a jump and McCoy to be your front end of
Yeah.
the rotation guys. And it's honestly, I mean, it is what it is. Injuries happen; it's part of the game. But you're not going in there expecting that you're going to be without. This point, three of your best arms have been out, have missed time this
Yep.
year, and you're not expecting to miss Josh Stewart the first game of conference play. So yeah, there are factors into it, but it just like you just said it, the stuff is just not good enough to be in the
Yep.
SEC. Better half. We say this all the time that we're surprised this team is where they are at this point with how bad the pitching staff's been, but you just got to give credit to how good this offense has been, and they didn't put up anything tonight. So therefore, in de facto, you never had a chance regarding whoever towed the rubber to start the game. You could have thrown fresh corn for 8 innings, and you still would have lost this game 1-0 probably.
Yeah. Caleb, yeah, I see your comment, like Cooper Powell. Like, okay, like there again, like I said, there are guys that have had their moments where you've said, oh, okay, that was a really good outing, whether it was 1 or 2 innings or one game where they played really well. You say, okay, Cooper Powell, this is a guy that could help us. Hunter Bond, this is a guy that could help us. Even Grant Cunningham has had moments where you say, hey, it looks like he could help us. Same with Juan Vargas, same with Weston Moss. But overall, it's been like this. And the consistency, when you look at all of the pitchers that have really struggled, is that they just don't have SEC caliber stuff. And, that's just kind of the hard truth. It's a ceiling. Like they're hitting the ceiling and there's nothing they can do about it. So that's it for the pitching staff. That's all I kind of had to say. Let's turn to Auburn's pitching staff. Andreas Alvarez went 5 innings. I feel like this is wrong. I'm looking at my phone.
No, he went 5.
ESPN.
His pitch count was up
Okay.
there, but he
Yeah, yeah,
went
yeah.
5.
5 innings, only gave up 1 hit, no earned runs, and walked 4 batters. He was not as sharp as he's been. Like in a lot of starts this year, he walked 4 batters. Like struggled to find the zone at times. But for A&M, like as a whole, offensively, we can get into A&M offensively now. Pretty simple. You could not get on base at all. You struggled to put the ball in play out of the infield for a lot of the game. And when you did have guys on base, which was very rare in this game, you did nothing with it. I stopped watching the game out of frustration in, what was it, the third or whatever inning that was, where we had runners on second and third with no outs, and then we struck out twice and grounded in or popped out into left field or whatever. So going through the lineup, this is not good, by the way. Gavin Grahovac was 0 for 4. Caden Sorrell was 1 for 4. Chris Akopian was 0 for 5. Jake Dewar was 0 for 3. Bear Harrison was 0 for 1. Ben Royo was 1 for 4. Jorian Wilson was 0 for 4. Blake Benderup was 0 for 2. And Boston Kellner was 0 for 1. So 7 of your batters were 0 for. That's not good. You're not going to win any games if that happens. As a team, A&M batted 0.071. They were 2 for 28. That's not good. You were 0 for 2 with 2 outs, 1 for 13 with runners on base, and 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. Because in the game, you only had 2 runners in scoring position. 0 for 6 in the leadoff. I mean, just an absolute nightmare all throughout. But yeah, I mean, I would say like this is a combination of a couple things. Give credit to Auburn because they're really good. They're the best pitching staff in the conference. Yeah, I mean, what did you see? What is your takeaway?
Yeah. First of all, I personally believe there's 2 teams that are like completely separated in the conference, and it's Georgia and it's Auburn.
Yep.
Let's start there. That Auburn's really freaking good. And then like you said, the game was over, in my opinion, when you're down 5-0 already, and you have second and third with Gavin, Sorrell, and Chris up, and you go strikeout, fly ball to right. I think
Yep.
we had 1 hit at the time, and we had 1 broken TV.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's about what happened. But yeah, no, it felt like one of those days where we said this during the 18-11 loss to Mississippi State, where everything could go wrong that went wrong, or whatever that went wrong could go wrong. But this was a microcosm of this team this year. When they lose, pitching gives it up and they don't get the timely hit. And they just didn't get any hits for that matter today. So obviously this will get you'll have a better showing the next time out because you'll be playing a 4 seed in your own regional, you would hope. But for tonight, yes, Auburn's really good and their staff's really good. And you just got beat.
Thank you guys very much for watching. We're not finishing. Don't worry. I'm just saying thank you. We have a bunch of comments I'm going to get to. We'll go through these kind of quickly. Yeah, Noble Guy, I guess we're saving our run production for next weekend. I hope that's what we're doing. That's a really weird strategy when you're playing for potentially a top 8 national seed in this game. I guess if that's what they want to do and they just wanted to save the offense for next weekend, that's fine. That's cool with me.
Yeah, they're making everyone sweat on Monday.
Yep.
So they just wanted to make everyone sweat Monday. Yeah.
Slammy, Blake taking 3-0 down the middle, down 7 with 2 runners on will always confuse me. Yeah, I mean, this was kind of a theme throughout the night. It just, there's no urgency to me. And this is actually like, I'll make a joke about this. Like, I hope Gavin was okay when he fell down the stairs in the first inning. That to me was a wonderful little representation of what this game was going to be like. So Gavin strikes out, first inning, first batter up, walks to the dugout, and slips and falls down the dugout stairs. That's what this game would go on to feel like. A never-ending staircase that you just kept slipping and falling down. And when you finally thought, oh my gosh, is the staircase going to end? It just never did. And you just kept slipping and falling. So that was just what the game was going to be like. It was a little bit of foreshadowing. I hope Gavin's okay. He's an awesome player. We obviously love Gavin. But yeah, I mean, to me, like when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, that's what the game's going to be like today.
Yeah, speaking on, I thought A&M did not use their challenges well today. There were very high leverage moments where they could have challenged Blake's 3-1 count that I did not think was a strike, but whatever. Whatever we want to talk about this ABS strike zone and how it looks huge on the TV screen and how the zone looks big. Yeah, it's because they're giving an extra inch off the plate. Instead of 18 inches, what the plate normally is, the automated strike system is 19. They're giving that buffer. But they just didn't use their challenges in high leverage situations, even if it is a strike. I don't care if it is a strike. Just use the challenge. Jorian struck out with first and second, nobody out, and a 2-2 count when you thought you could have somewhat have momentum, and he strikes out on a borderline pitch, and you don't even challenge it with 2 challenges left. Like they were not prepared for this ABS system when other teams have thrived in it.
And that to me is just more along the lines of what I was saying before, where there was just a lack of urgency from the team. Like, again, I'm not saying that this team came to Hoover and did not care and did not want to win the game. Like, I'm not saying that. Like, I'm not saying they didn't want to win the game. I'm saying they didn't look like I don't know how to say it. They just didn't look like they wanted to play in the game. I'm not saying they wanted to lose the game. It's just what it looked like.
Yeah, it felt like, I'm not saying they didn't care about this game at all, but just being blunt, they just felt like they didn't care, and Auburn was really wanting to win this game. And it felt like A&M was taking a similar approach to what Texas did, except they were actually using an arm that they have to rely on. Texas rolled out Cody Howard when they could have thrown Volantis and been all in on that game, and they could have very well advanced. But they wanted to see what they had in Cody Howard for next weekend. If A&M would have rolled out Cooper Powell to start and this all game would have happened, I feel like everyone would have been explained like, oh, we were trying to figure some stuff out for next weekend like that. No, you got beat with your dudes and you were throwing your dudes. Like, it's not like they were experimenting anything. You just did not look like you had the same energy you had in game 3 of Mississippi State, where you knew you had to win to be in the consideration for top 8. And you saw the energy of just the team, like screw the crowd of it. The energy of that dugout of that team, the sense of urgency they had to win that game against Mississippi State, that team was not there in Hoover this week. And it was just one game, one and done for the Aggies.
Yep. Gaming Bud, literally by the second inning, I felt done with the game. Yes, we talked about that before. Why did we start Darden? Why not? I mean, what's the problem with starting Darden? I mean, he's been really good. Like, he deserves an opportunity to start. And I also thought what I thought was going to happen was I thought that they were going to try to squeeze a little bit more innings like out of Darden. And that's what they were going to do today. Early talked about before Hoover, like we're going to play to win, but you're going to see some differences with how we approach pitching. Like some guys are going to pitch for a little bit longer than you might think, and some are we're going to pull the plug on earlier. So I took that as, all right, we're going to start Darden and we're going to let him roll until he's done, instead of, you know, going into the game feeling like we only need 2 out of him. Yeah. Pitching, honestly, Dylan, yeah, pitching honestly wasn't that terrible after Darden. Yeah, I mean, like we talked about, it's 1 inning. Auburn did not score in 5 innings of 5 of the 9 innings. That's really good holistically. It's just that 1 inning that's always been the problem.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry.
No,
No,
I
go
think
for it.
like holistically, if you walk Chase Fralick in that situation after, but well, obviously this is hindsight. He hits the double. They go up 4. The next pitch was to I forget who to Bingham, and he rolls over to short, which would have been an inning-ending double play. And we've saw Trace Fralick firsthand hit 3 home runs in College Station not too long ago when we played him, and he was the guy that beat you in that series. And he did it again today. Like I mean, this is all hindsight. This is the Tuesday fantasy football coach that's, I didn't start him. But I would have liked to see the approach when one guy has beaten you the series that you played him. Why not make someone else beat you? Like that's the thing that frustrated me today. But yes, like you said, Gavin, I thought was very good after that pitch. And then after Sadeo, yeah, he gave up, I think 1 or 2, I don't remember, but you take that. Like, I think that's fine. And Moss looked fine and Freshcorn looked good. So like holistically, yes, it sucks, but some of these guys got work and they got better. Like I know 7-0, we didn't score, but the guys after Darden gave you a chance to win. Like if you would have started from Lions after the Fralick double, and you went all the way back to Freshcorn, that gave you a chance to win the game, but your offense didn't show up.
Yeah, and that's to something that you said that I thought was really interesting, which is like, that's been the thing that's been so consistent, is that the 1 inning happens with the pitching staff where they give up a bunch of runs and then they're pretty good after that. But the problem is that the pitching staff is pretty good when it's too late and the damage is already done. Look at game 1 against Mississippi State. They give up 13 runs in that 1 inning, and they're really good the rest of the game, and they're really good in the inning before that. But the 1 inning can't happen. And that's what's so frustrating, is like we talked about it earlier for those that are just joining us. Like A&M's pitching staff is not an SEC caliber pitching staff when you look at holistically, like the stuff, the speed and all of those things. Like it's just not an SEC pitching staff holistically. But they've shown that they are able to be good enough, like in many games this year, and even in losses, they've been really good at times. The frustration, and we just can't figure it out, it's got to be a mental thing, is for whatever reason at the beginning of these games, first 3 innings, in one of those first 3 innings, the other team is going to put up a crooked number that digs A&M into an early hole. I can't figure it out. I've thought about it all season. It frustrates me like hell. But that's just kind of been what it is the pitching staff is good enough when it's already too late and the damage is already done. Okay, gaming, but yeah, so Auburn is good, but didn't we give? Yes, so Andreas Alvarez pitched in game 1 in College Station. Did pretty good against them. I think we did hit 2 or 3 home runs. Obviously,
yeah, Gavin hit 2 and Jordan hit 1, but at the end of the day, he went 7 innings and had 11 strikeouts. So
yeah, he's really good. He's very, very good.
Borderline, he's very good. And I want to, like, we could touch on Caleb's. Would you rather play Auburn or Florida? Both are like the same exact team, in my opinion, except one you've beaten one of them and you've lost 3 games now to the other one. So just off that, yeah, I'd rather play Florida than Auburn, just because you've beaten them. Like, yeah, their starters are probably, I feel like, better, in my opinion, with stuff-wise, as Aiden King and Liam Peterson compared to Marciano and Alvarez. But, like, you just haven't been able to beat Auburn. Like, yeah, I think Florida's a better team than Auburn, but Auburn's played better the whole year, where it's a bigger sample size of them being great, and now it's Florida that's just played – what they look really well at LSU. So, but everyone's looked good at LSU. So it's been like 6 or 7 games of really good baseball from Florida, and I feel like if you're A&M, you'd rather play them because you've actually beaten them.
Dylan, 0-5 in first games over past 5 weeks. This is not technically a first. I mean, it's weird because it's a tournament, but I do hear what you're saying. We're going to talk about that. Like, we're not going to touch too much on the postseason in this video. We're going to have a whole video for that. We're going to do a whole stream for that after Selection Monday. So yeah, we'll do that then. But I do want to talk a little bit about the postseason. So we're going to talk about that later. Cooper Powell, yeah, disappointed that Powell hasn't gotten more opportunities. Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing. This game did not go the way that our team and our coaching staff probably expected this game to go. Maybe Cooper Powell would have pitched tomorrow. Maybe you would have pitched him today in a different situation. But yes, Cooper Powell deserves to pitch more. Like, he's earned that opportunity. I agree. Let's see. That's it. Okay. Yeah, those are I think we kind of touched everything in this game. You were dominated. Auburn is a lot better than you. They've been better than you in the series and then that you played them in, and they were better than you today. They wanted to win more than you did, and they did. Okay, let's talk about Selection Monday. So, going into this game this morning, in the video that I made this morning, I said that if we lost this game to Auburn, it would be unclear whether A&M would be a top 8 national seed. I'm not saying that they're not going to be, but I do not feel great about them being a top 8 national seed right now. They could be, maybe they will be, maybe they won't be, but like on Selection Monday, when that 8th seed is about to be revealed, we're going to be going like this. We're going to be going like this, and it's going to be pretty scary. But yeah, I mean, what needs to happen? This is out of A&M's hands at this point, whether they're going to be a top 8 national seed. But what needs to happen the rest of the tournament? We'll just talk about Florida for now, and then we can talk about like Southern Miss after.
Yeah, so you need Georgia to look really good tomorrow. Like they have looked really good tomorrow. They've looked really good all year. But the one team that has beat them in a weekend series this year is Florida. Yes, they beat them with King and Peterson. But who knows who Florida has to throw tomorrow, and Georgia has a dude tomorrow. They have Dylan Vigue going, so you feel very good about that case scenario. And I during this game was scoreboard watching. Southern Miss was losing to Troy at Southern Miss today, and then Southern Miss hits a walk-off grand slam. So I'll just touch on it now. You need Southern Miss to not win the conference, which they're in the championship game now. So if they do, I do think you will still be in front of them. However, now you're clumped into them where you might be the 10 now. You might not even be the 9, and you might not get matched up with Florida. You might have to be worried about playing Bama or Auburn again instead of playing Florida.
So the teams of concern, I guess we should do I'll go first, but so there are a couple teams of concern that Tag and I would say, if A&M is not a top 8 national seed on Monday, it's going to be because this team has jumped ahead of them. And for me, that's the one, it's Florida, it's Southern Miss. Though, I mean, honestly, those are the only two that I really feel scared of.
Because Florida State needed to win today, and they lost to Pitt. Pitt's having their magical run right now.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
They needed FSU to win. They did not. So I feel like if you're A&M, your worst case scenario, you're the 10. But I feel like they won't put A&M behind Southern Miss for losing this game. But who knows? But I do think you're right. It's Florida and Southern Miss. That's the only two possible. But Auburn's better strengthen the resume. I feel very good about Auburn tomorrow against Arkansas. We assume Dietz is not going to be available after taking 105 to the foot and them using Gackle for about 85 pitches today. So I feel good about Auburn's chances tomorrow based off how they've been playing. So they're going to keep rising. So it's not like you're going to probably be faced up. Auburn's probably going to move in front of Texas, even though Texas has head-to-head. I would not be surprised if you see Auburn in 5 if they win tomorrow. But yeah, you just as simplified best case scenario, you need Georgia to win tomorrow, and I think you feel good because the committee will have you right next to Florida in the projections, and I feel like you have to honor head to head because the matchup has already been played.
It feels like college football, like we were talking about Miami and Notre Dame. That's the story. We are going to be very frustrated if Florida is above Texas A&M as a top 8 national seed. because Texas A&M beat Florida in the regular season, and that has to matter. So I have the RPIs pulled up. Auburn is up to 3 in the or they stayed at 3 actually in the RPI. A&M is down to 14 in the RPI after this loss. That hurts. You are now below both Southern Miss and Florida in the RPI. Southern Miss jumped up 1 spot to number 12. Florida jumped up to number 9 in the RPI. So you are now 14th in the RPI, which as a top 8 national seed, that's a very uncomfortable place to be. Like, I don't know if I had to lean towards it, like, even if Georgia wins tomorrow, like, I still don't feel good about it. I just don't. Like, A&M is, let's see, A&M is 10-13 in quad 1 games, 9-0 in quad 2 games, 4-1 in quad 3 games, 16-0 in quad 4 games. Florida is 16-11 in quad 1 games, 7-3 in quad 2, 6-1 in quad 3, and 10-3 in quad 4. So Florida has worse losses than you, but they have better wins. That's kind of the story.
Yeah.
A&M 10, as I said, 10-13 in quad 1 games. And then the other frustrating thing, and this is what like just pisses me off and I hate it. And I don't, Southern Miss is 6-6 in quad 1 games. They have played a fraction of the competition that A&M has, and they're sitting above them in the RPI. I don't know 100% exactly how the math of the RPI works and all of that garbage. Southern Miss is right now above A&M in the RPI and threatening to take a top 8 national seed, and they have played a fraction of the quad 1 teams that Texas A&M has. So that's really frustrating to me.
I feel very confident in being like the SEC. Well, obviously everyone knows the SEC is better than the Sun Belt. I feel like this committee will do right by that. Like, yes, Southern Miss has dominated the Sun Belt. I'm like pretty positive. I don't really care about Southern Miss baseball, to be honest, but I'm just throwing that out there that I'm pretty positive they absolutely handled business in the Sun Belt. But finishing third in the SEC is definitely greater than finishing first in the Sun Belt. However, like if we get to Selection Monday, because you know how they do the bracket, they'll show the 1, they'll show the 16 matched up next to each other. If we're going to get to the 8-9, and it's going to be A&M and Florida, and if they put Florida over A&M, they're going to have to answer why they did that, because A&M has already beat them in the series. But they're going to go recency bias as their answer, and I just don't think that's right.
Yeah, this is Dylan. This is it right here. Like, that's what Tag just said. Like, if Florida is above A&M and Florida is the 8 seed, what about the head-to-head? A&M already beat them. I said this morning that what I thought would happen is if Florida is a top 8 national seed, it's going to be that they drop Alabama out somehow.
Yeah.
And then A&M moves up to the 7 and Florida is the 8. You look at Alabama's resume, they're 6 in the RPI, 14-15 in quad 1 games, 5-1 in quad 2, 10-3 in quad 3, and 8-0 in quad 4. So they have more quad 1 wins than A&M. They have 4 more. A&M, again, like they only have 10 quad 1 wins, which is kind of low for some of these top RPI teams. So, Alabama has a better resume than you. And that you didn't play A&M. And so I don't think that they're going to drop Alabama out of the top 8. It's going to be A&M is in or not.
Yeah, they're not going to move Alabama. Like they didn't play each other. Just like I feel like Alabama's just RPI alone. Like, yeah, whatever we want to talk about metrics or actual team alone. Do I think A&M's personally better than Alabama? Yes. But is that the homer in me? Maybe. I don't know. I just looking at what I saw against Florida versus what I've watched all year from A&M. And I could very hardly tell you that I believe A&M's a better team than Alabama. But the numbers they're going to be shown up whenever we get to Monday at 11 or whatever. And they're going to pop up the RPI 6 versus RPI 14. And everyone's going to be like, well, I believe Alabama, blah, 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 based on these numbers. And we're not talking accountability of what actually happened on the field. But once again, you had 2 very bad losses as your last couple of games from Alabama and A&M. And I really don't know what we're going to see on Monday. But my gut feeling is you will see on Selection Monday the 8-9 graphic without seeing A&M or Florida yet. If Florida loses tomorrow, if they win, they might jump in front of Bama. They might be the 7, but. Georgia's in a great shape tomorrow, so all this could be negated. But if Georgia doesn't show up tomorrow and they look sluggish, they don't look good, and Florida bounces on them, then I don't. None of this is a discussion. A&M will be the 9,
Yeah.
and maybe even the 10 at worst case. And you still might match up against Florida. And yeah, Florida's been playing really well, but you've already been to Gainesville, and I feel very confident in this team.
Yeah. Well, thank you to everybody who's watching. This is the most people that we have had watching live, so thank you very much for that. For everybody that just joined or didn't hear what we just talked about, basically we're going to summarize it like this. If you ask me if Texas A&M is going to be a top 8 national seed, I would ask you, well, what happened in the Georgia-Florida game tomorrow? If Georgia beats Florida, still going to be a little bit of a nail biter, but A&M could be the 8 seed. If Florida wins tomorrow, that is the nail in the coffin. A&M will probably not be a top 8 national seed if Georgia wins tomorrow. Alabama's going to stay in. Florida's going to jump into the 8 spot, and A&M is going to fall to that 9 or 10 spot. Southern Miss, the other team we talked about, I don't know. They're 6-6 in quad 1 games. Like, they're playing in the Sun Belt Championship tomorrow. You hope that they lose, and so you don't have to worry about it. But I would tell you, if you were to ask me, is A&M going to be a top 8 national seed? It's totally out of their hands, and I don't feel good about it right now. No. But it does depend on what happens tomorrow. So that's just kind of the summary. We'll get back to this after tomorrow, and that's when we'll really be able to have an answer. But if Georgia wins, and I don't even know
Texas State, it would be Texas State looks pretty good. I believe it is Texas State versus Southern Miss tomorrow. If Texas State wins, I would say that's the best case scenario if both that happens. But it's still, once again, A&M did not look good today, and they didn't answer. They could have – everything was in front of them, and they did not take care of business. So now it's up to a committee's hands to see where they're placed.
So that's it for that. The answer, it's a very frustrating answer, but if you ask me if A&M is going to be top 8 national seed, the answer is I don't know. It's going to be a very nerve-wracking Monday.
I think we need to touch on before we head out here. Look what Caleb said. I think that's
look. Okay, Caleb. Look, guys. I am not rooting on A&M to lose games so that we have more people watching us, but it's nice to have a lot of people in here. So thank you guys for watching. We will always be here after losses to calm you down and put into words what you're feeling.
Yeah. And does this change who we play in the regional? Who time will tell, it's like, it is what it is, but you did just see UCSB lose today to Cal Poly. So there was a bid stealer. So Vanderbilt is not feeling good. After there's been a couple of bid steals, which means teams that were projected to win their conference that are pretty much a lock for the tournament did not win their conference tournament. If those who don't know what the term bid stealer is, that's what it is. But there were a few today where there were some bid stealers. So if you're like a team on the bubble, as in Vanderbilt or Kentucky for that matter, you're not feeling good. You're sweating Monday out. But for who we face in a regional, I've seen UTSA attached to A&M in Texas a lot, just because of the regionality of it all. But yes, it can change. Will it change? Who knows for that matter. But if we see UCSB and UTSA or Tarleton and some other 3 seed, I would not be surprised on Monday. But when we do know, we'll have breakdowns for you all on what to expect for next weekend.
Yeah. This is all just going to be a lot clearer after tomorrow is kind of how this is going to work. Okay, the last thing I wanted to touch on before we get out of here, I don't want to get into it too much, but I just want to, as a whole, the season we're now in the postseason. A&M finished conference play 3-7 in game 1s. Okay. Now, if you lose in a regional, you could be playing 5 games in a regional in back-to-back days. And so this week, this coaching staff is going to have to sit down. They are going to have to take a very, very careful look at the pitching staff and really try to figure out who gives you the best chance to win that first game. It's an uncomfortable thing to talk about. I'm not saying I don't think we would lose the first game. The concern is losing that 1-0 game, that second game that you would play against the 2 seed. Because again, you lose that one game, now you've got to play an extra game. You do
Yeah.
not have 5 starters on your team. You don't.
I have a general idea of what they're going to do, but I don't have full confidence in what they're going to do. Like we could see, I believe if everything goes right, I think we see Juan Vargas to open the regional. But if you don't see Juan, you could see a combination of Gavin Lyons. You could see a combination of someone who's thrown the ball well, Cooper Powell. I think that's a very strong. Cooper Powell, I think, is the strongest candidate to start just based on that, or Hunter Bond
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
But there are guys that have thrown the ball very well. It's just who are they going to use to throw in that 1-0 game? And if you lose, then you can't save anything. You go Sims, you go guys to get out of the losers bracket, and you got to win. You got to win 4 games if you do that.
Yeah.
But if you, at best case scenario, you play 3 and you're 3 dudes, you'll have Shane out of the bullpen, assuming that happens, because you'll use one of those guys I just listed. And you can go Sims and then Shane and have fresh corn in the back end. But if that goes to plan, and you only have to throw 3 games, and you have 2 starters and 2 bullpen games, and you can, and I feel very confident if that's the case. If you win the first game, I feel very good. Depending on your regional draw, like there are teams like Cincinnati that hit a lot of home runs that this could get very iffy if that happens, because we could be in very high run ball games, and your bullpen's going to be taxed immediately if that happens. But I mean, it all depends on the regional draw. Like there's always a regional of death where every team's very good, and you just hope it's not yours.
Yeah. Like the one thing I mentioned earlier that I was frustrated with is that you did not give this season, you did not give some of these arms that you haven't seen very much of, like Cooper Powell, like Hunter Bond, like they haven't gotten enough time to where you have a feel for whether they're going to be able to help you or not. And in this regional, that could be really important. Like, what if Cooper Powell is a guy that's just been sitting there that is your best reliever if you give him time to play, and you just don't know that? So that's why I say, like, this coaching staff is going to have a very long conversation, very, very detail-oriented conversation about, we are going to have to play 4 games, maybe 5 games in this regional potentially. Who in the world in our pitching staff, besides Gavin Lyons and Clayton Freshcorn out of the bullpen, are going to be able to help us if things go wrong? Because
like we saw approach to this in the first game of today's 2 games. You saw Texas roll out Cody Howard, who was very in the zone, like very, very, very in the zone. He got hit around. Yeah, that's what happens. But like they were trying to find answers too. They took it a different approach, like Schloss has, even when he was here. Like Schloss didn't care about the SEC tournament. Like we talked about this off air. Like they don't care about the SEC tournament. They went 1 and done last year. They went 1 and done again today. Not throwing Volantis, not whatever the case may be. But they found answers. Cade Rogers was good. Grossland was good. Yeah, they got shelled and blown out today, but they found answers that guys that they can rely on in a postseason setting. While A&M's over here, they get blown out, but yeah, some guys look good. Like we don't know who can throw in that game, but when you look at Texas, they know who they can throw. So it's a very stressful situation for A&M in a regional setting where you could get Tarleton in the first game. They're in a championship game tomorrow. If you get Tarleton in your regional, that's a very good offense that we saw in our midweek, that they can put up runs and they have some good enough arms to get you out. Like they had a guy up to 96, like at Tarleton State. Like there are guys that are at these small mid majors that you've never heard about that can come in here and get out. So it's going to be interesting to see what this staff does in the week leading up to regionals, because it will be Friday. But time will tell, and I believe that they can get it right. Will it execute? Will these pitchers execute? That's yet to be seen. But will they have a plan in place if everything goes well, and if everything does not go well? They will have a plan, but it's all up to will they execute it. And for me, I feel like this team's, like, a lot of these guys do have postseason experience, so I feel good. Like Gavin, like Caden. Some guys from other stops. Yeah, you have a lot of young guys that need this experience, which will only be good for their future careers. But for the guys that you do have that have postseason experience, I feel like this team will show up when it matters. Plus, you get it the first at home, and I feel like if you get it out of a regional, I like this team in a 3-game series, like we've seen.
Exactly. Yeah, Tag and I have not joked because it's serious, but like all year talked about A&M is more likely to lose in a regional than they are in a super regional because a super regional is only 3 games max. Okay, the last thing I wanted to say before we are done here is just the general concern going into the postseason, which is in any sport at all, something that all championship teams demonstrate is that they can win games in a multitude of ways, right? Like they're like a toolbox. Like they can make it work with whatever happens. Auburn is absolutely that kind of team. Georgia is absolutely that kind of team. Texas is that kind of team. Like Alabama, even Florida, like these teams, some of these teams in the SEC, they've had low scoring games that they've won. They've had high scoring games that they've won. A&M is not a toolbox team. A&M has to win. From what I've seen this season, maybe it'll change, maybe things will go differently. From what we've seen this season, A&M has to win a very specific kind of game, which is they have to score a lot of runs or they're not going to win the game. You look at that 2024 team, the reason they were so good is because even in that Omaha run, they won some low scoring games. Look at that regional, that regional game in 24 against Texas. They won a really low scoring game where they hardly hit the baseball. If you play like this in this game, the way that you played today against Auburn offensively, obviously you're not going to win any game if you score 0 runs. But you're going to face it like Auburn. You are not going to score 9+ runs against Auburn. You're just not. Like you might not score more than 5 runs against Auburn. And that's like a really concerning ceiling for this team is if you face a team in your regional or your super or even in Omaha, like if you face a team that's not going to give up more than 5 or 6 runs, you have no confidence that this pitching staff is going to be able to hold that opponent to under 4 or 5 runs. Like they just can't. And so from right now, you do not feel good about A&M in the postseason because holistically, they have not been able to win in a multitude of ways. They have to win a very specific kind of high-scoring game. The only flash that I've seen this year is against I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think. Like Texas, you scored 9 runs in that first game. You scored 11 runs in the next game. Maybe some of the games at Florida, you didn't score a lot of runs, but you were still able to win.
LSU to some degree, like games 2 and 3 of LSU, maybe. But like I feel like there's some guys that can piece it together. Like there have been signs of Cooper Powell being able to throw 2 innings. There has been signs of Fresh Corn being thrown for 5 at Ole Miss. Like if you have to, there are some guys that you feel really good in that you can win a 3-2 game with XYZ throwing the ball. Like if you have Sims and Fresh Corn, you can allow. I feel confident if you go 6 from Sims, 3 from Fresh Corn. But being real, I feel like we're being told some stuff that might not be true about the severity of this injury to Sims, and you might not be able to get length out of him. Like we only can take with a grain of salt from what we're told. We're told it's muscle tightness, but what if it's not muscle tightness? What if it's something else? Yes, they're being specifically told, but what if this is hidden under wraps for a reason? So that's all I can say. Like, yes, we would want to believe our head coach. Like I feel like very confident that it is muscle tightness, but if it's not, then you won't be able to get the same length that you've gotten out of Sims. And then that even puts more on this, what we're talking about of these guys, this staff does not have stuff to get plus hitters out. Like a lot of Auburn's guys have not been like especially great of power and slug. A lot of them have not, but when they've faced A&M in the series and this game specifically, they've hammered the ball. So clearly it's and like they just played Georgia. They scored 2 runs, and I believe they scored 3 the next game before run rolling them on Sunday or Saturday for that matter. But there are teams that get Auburn out, and like someone said, Auburn just kills us. Yeah, it's been the problem all year. The staff gets hit around, and when the balls are flying out of the ballpark on a windy day where the wind's blowing out and hitter-friendly conditions, the ball flies against this staff because they just don't have good enough stuff to be the front line of the SEC.
Caleb, I'm going to ask you a question. What are the odds that you freaking start fresh corn in the regional or in the super regional? Like, why not at this point? You're 3-7 in game ones. Your pitching staff has been the problem, the reason why you've lost a lot of games this year. Trying the same thing over and over. Oh, we'll just roll him back out. We'll just roll Shane back out there. He didn't have a good. That was something that's so frustrating this year, right? Like Shane and Weston and so many of their starts and their post game interviews where they didn't play well. Oh, I just didn't play well. Like that's not me. Like I got to play better. Okay, well, you continue to not play well. You haven't been good all year. So are we going to keep trying the same old thing, or are we going to throw something else at the wall and see if it sticks? I think you need to do something different. In a super regional, why not start Aiden Sims in game one and just do it? You've got to take one of these game ones eventually. I mean, or start Clayton Freshcorn in game one. Why not? Just do it. Do something different. Maybe not that extreme, but like do something different than you have been doing and quit expecting the arms that have not done well this year and not performed well and not won you games. Quit rolling them back out there in the exact same situation, expecting them to do differently. That's going to be a conversation this week. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Hey, we've rolled this guy out here again and again and again, and he's not getting it done. We need to do something else with him.
Yeah. Pull up that fresh corn comment one more time. I need to have a heart-to-heart real quick, heart-to-heart situation. What are the odds Clayton Freshcorn's on this roster next year? I'm just leave that as this is. What are the odds he's on this roster next year? He is draft eligible. Who's stopping him from him giving an eval that's good enough to be drafted in the higher half of college pitchers, or they're going to give him the money to where it's more than what A&M's offering, whatever, to sign. I fully believe he's not leaving Texas A&M. I'm not saying that he's going to transfer. I'm saying that what if his draft grade's good enough and his agent's telling him to hit the draft? Like, it's a serious conversation that needs to be had. Like, some of these pitchers on this staff, not some. Freshcorn on this staff might not be here next year. Sorry. Freshcorn might not be here next year. And it's just it's a tough realization to have. But yeah, I feel like, and like we talked about this, A&M and Texas have the most money in the SEC. Yeah, I believe that they can throw an extra blah, 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 blank check. How much do you need to stay here and him be a frontline guy next year? Do I believe that will happen? Maybe not. I'm not fully sold on that because of what's happened this year. I don't know if he will be on this roster next year, but if I had to guess, I mean, yeah, why not? Why not roll him out there is my question. He went 5 innings at Ole Miss and gave up 1 run, and it was a ball that was this far under Sawyer Farr's glove. Like, I mean, he's been very good when he goes 3 innings. Like, why not extend him a little bit? It's not like he's been getting hit hard. Yeah, there was an outing where he gave up the Texas game where he gave up 2 home runs in the ninth, but that's 2 runs. This offense can score 2 runs except for today or UCLA. But this team objectively can score more than 2 runs a game, especially at home. And I mean, in a regional setting, it's going to be completely different. Like some of these the mid majors that haven't been here in this level of competition have not been to an environment like this. Like you've talked about on
that's why you got to play at home
after Mississippi State. Like you're going to get someone not from the SEC in the regional, and they definitely have not been to an SEC environment, but more specifically this one. And if they have played a midweek, like Southern Miss plays Alabama, they play Mississippi, they play Mississippi State, like they play these, but it's not Texas A&M, it's not Olsen Field,
yeah,
it's not the 12th man, and a lot of these, like you're not going to get Southern Miss because they're going to be up for a national seed. You're not going to get the top, like you're not going to get Texas State, if I had to guess. Like you're not going to get these teams that have been here. The only one that will be is like Lamar or Tarleton, the 4th seed, but they haven't been to a weekend environment, and we'll see. Like we all are overreacting. Like it's the nature of a loss. Like we're all very emotional after a loss. We're all emotional during the game that you're losing. And yes, it does suck, but this team has had moments where they bounce back really well. Like we've questioned it. We talked about it after Auburn, after Mississippi State. Will this team bounce back? And they have almost every time. So for that reason, I have full faith in this coaching staff. I have full faith in this team because they are very good. Don't get this wrong. This team is very good. Auburn is very good as well, and they showed it tonight.
Yeah. And again, two things. One, to your point of playing at home, like I've said that, like if A&M is going to run to Omaha, they have to do it at home. They just have to. You can survive with a poor pitching performance or a mediocre pitching performance at home. You can survive that. Imagine if this pitching staff gave up a 13-run inning on the road in a super regional atmosphere. You're done. The game is over. You're not coming back from that. You do that. You do not a 13-run inning.
Scratch the game. Scratch the game.
The series is over. You're right.
done.
You're eliminated. Yes, absolutely. But again, if not a 13-run inning, but if you struggle a little bit at home, you can survive that because the other pitching staff is going to struggle a little bit because they're playing at Olsen Field. So you can survive some of these bumps at home, which is why we were so, from when we started making videos, we were like, we have got to be a top 8 national seed if this team wants to run to Omaha, because they've got to play at home because the pitching staff is too bad. They're not good enough to win in a super regional atmosphere on the road. And then one more thing, to Dylan's point, yes, like he was just, again, I'm not literally saying to move Aiden Sims to game 1 in a super regional or whatever, but the staff has changed some things, right? They started Darden against Auburn. Like very clearly they're trying to change some things. Darden has shown you some signs that maybe he could do it. Obviously he started twice against Mississippi State and you won that series. That's incredible. You never see that in college baseball or in this conference specifically, but like they've got to try something new. And that's something that they're going to do this week. They're going to look at this pitching staff and say, dude, we are 3-7 in game 1s. Shane Sadeo has not been good in a starting role. Weston Moss, I have no idea what I'm going to get from Weston Moss. I have no idea what I'm going to get from anybody but Clayton Freshcorn out of the pen. I really don't know what they're going to look like because it's been like this. What can we do in game 1, in that 1-0 game, in that 2-0 game, or that 1-1 game, whatever in the regional? What can we do in these games that's different, that might give us a better chance to win? Because what we've been doing has not been working. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, and then there's another thing before I touch on something that's also very heartfelt, but it's like when Early says we're at full strength, and then you hear Aiden Sims won't pitch, and then you hear Partita's not in the lineup. Like what are we doing? Like I just like, what are we doing? Like I know we're trying to hide our hand here, but like you're just telling everyone and to like we're not trusting your word at this point. Like I'm not saying we don't trust Early, because I think he's a great coach. I personally do. But like some of these like quotes, it makes you like wonder like what's actually going on, what's going on behind the scenes. And then to where I really wanted to touch on is this team going to win a national championship? I don't know. But the postseason experience for the players that will be on this roster next year is going to be crucial. Like Boston, like Nico, like Jorian, like TK to some degree, because who knows like what this what Chris is available, whatever we're gonna do in the regional, like what's the availability. But like some of these guys that will be on the like Bear, like some of these guys that will be on the team next year, the experience for this run, whether they win it or not, is going to be crucial to the success of next year's team. Because do we know if this team's going to win a national championship? No, not yet. We don't know what's going to happen with this team. But for the guys that will be back next year, like the pitching is going to be better next year. I have full confidence in it. Whether that's firing someone, I don't believe they will. But whether it's hitting on guys in the portal or hitting on recruits that you're about to get and hitting on the development of players like Cooper Powell, like Cole Huber, like Hunter Vincent, like you saw in Aiden Sims this year. Like hitting on these guys matter. But like,
and maybe getting a little bit luckier with injuries too.
Correct. That too. Like you're going to, the development of this team is going to be shown through the regional. I'm not saying that Boston's going to go 4 for 4 in the regional or like 8 for 13 in the regional as a whole. But I'm saying the experience of playing in postseason baseball matters for your roster next year because you've been there before. You've done it. It's like, it's not like you're hitting next year's team. Like we could see like this is his second roster. Like next year's roster could be better than this one. Yes, you're losing 3 first-round draft picks in your lineup, and yeah, it sucks. But as a holistically from a roster's perspective, top to down, we've spoken. Next year's roster is probably going to be better from top to bottom. This roster might be better. And having the experience of postseason baseball matters for the guys that are on this roster next year because, like I keep saying, you've been there before.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great point. And again, like we're not saying, oh my gosh, the team is screwed this year. We need to put all our chips in for next year.
Yeah,
It is
no, I'm
important.
not saying that at all.
Yeah, not what we're saying at all, but it is important. Even like, Aiden Sims, like, hey, he's gonna get to pitch in the postseason, maybe be on the team next year and then he'll have that experience. Like younger guys on the pitching staff are going to get to pitch in a postseason, regional atmosphere, maybe on the road in a super regional, maybe at home in the super regional, maybe at Omaha. We don't know. But yeah, experience is always important, regardless of the situation, right? And then, yeah, about Partita and like Sims. Like, guys, if we were in a situation like Texas was in today, where it literally does not matter what happens in the game, they're a top 8 national seed. If we were in that situation, if this game against Auburn did not matter, then we would shrug our shoulders and say whatever. But you were playing for a top 8 national seed today, maybe. Like, but even if you don't know, like you don't know for sure, but this coaching staff absolutely understands the situation that they're in. They really wanted to win this game today so that they could feel good about being a top 8 national seed, right? Like this team is not going to just not try in a game where they felt like maybe they need to win, even if they're not sure. They're not just going to not try. And so if Nico Partita is not playing in a game that is probably really important to you, what does that say about his health? Like you didn't see him at all. That's a little bit concerning, considering that Early said before Hoover, after the Mississippi State series, he said in an interview, word for word, we are going to be at full health in a few days. That's what he said. And you did not see Nico Partita today. That's a little bit concerning. Again, we're not saying you're not going to see him in the regional or something. We'll know all of that very soon. But
I think
it's a little concerning.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to touch on this comment from Noble Guy. If talent's an issue, that's still a coach issue. We've seen two guys on this pitching staff progress this year throughout the season. It has been Aiden Sims and it's been Cooper Powell. And if we're going to be face blunt at what it is, there have been a lot of guys where it's just been a downward trajectory from the start of the year. Like everyone would agree that Sadeo has not been himself this year. It's not been great. And some parts of Weston have not been great either from the weekend starters perspective. But then you could have testimated to Grant Cunningham. You could have testimated to Vargas when he got put in the fire against Mississippi State. You could put it into the fact of some of these guys on midweeks that have sometimes struggled. Like, yes, it is a coach's problem. And it's also a problem of like this like everyone has the same resources. Like we have a pitching lab, we have Rapsodo, we have all the numbers that can detect what these guys are doing. And sometimes, yes, this might be at a talent perspective, which we would agree the stuff's not equivalent to what you're seeing from Auburn. Like the Alvarez kid is pumping 97, and then everything he had that moves is gross. Like, where is that on this staff?
There's one guy who has it, and his name's Aiden Sims. That's what I said earlier. Like, you have Aiden Sims. He throws 5 different pitches for strikes. Looking below that, okay, Clayton Freshcorn throws 95 plus miles an hour. He throws a couple different pitches for strikes that have nasty movement on them. As a whole, the rest of your pitching staff, it does not have SEC caliber stuff. And Dylan, like, dude, I hear you. This is a lot easier said than done. You know why it's a lot easier said than done? Because there's a guy named Max Weiner sitting in Austin. And if I'm a pitcher growing up in the state of Texas, unless I absolutely love A&M and grew up around A&M, I want to go pitch for Max Weiner.
Yeah.
Or I want to go pitch at LSU or somewhere else in the SEC. Why would I want to come pitch at Texas A&M? Tell me.
Yeah, we make the joke of like someone's got to take the fall at LSU, like Nate Yeske or someone. Like if Nate Yeske gets fired, I can full-heartedly say that A&M will be working the phones to get Nate Yeske to College Station. But like where is this pitching guru that is being like is going to get leave his job to come to a hitter's friendly ballpark in College Station rather than leave where he currently is at? Like people are going to make the joke of where is this year's Wes Johnson? Where is this year's Nate? Like we keep talking about it. Like I don't think there is one. Like unless you were going to like the mid-major ranks of UCSB and getting their pitching coach or getting like someone from there. Like I don't think there is one. So it's like if you do fire Jason Kelly, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. You got to have a plan of who you're going to hire. but it's got to actually happen. Like you've got to land the guy that is the front runner for the job. Like you can't miss on person A and then go to person B if you're firing Jason Kelly, in my opinion. If you fire Jason Kelly and then go land the C guy, you're just in the place that you were, and you're getting reacclimating a new pitching coach to this place. Like so if you're gonna move on from Kelly, you've got to land the guy, which we just saw him. We just saw him here. He left for Austin. So
I mean, guys, like in the comments, like if you disagree with me, seriously, like explain to me why you would want to be a pitcher at Texas A&M.
Why?
Let's go back to last year. Guess what? Like, sorry, Ryan Prager regressed last year. He regressed last year. Okay. Justin Lampkin had some good moments last year. Lampkin regressed last year. You had a lot of bullpen pieces that again, similar to this year's bullpen, either they were young guys on the 2024 team or they were new that you thought could really help you, who did not help you. Like, that's how it's been. And that has continued into this year. Your pitchers are not helping you win, and they're regressing. And if they're not regressing, they're like this. This does not win you a national championship. And if I'm a pitcher, I'm going to go pitch at Texas with Max Wiener or somewhere else in the SEC.
It's the same conversation of like I know this is more similar to my realm being from there, but like if you're like a lead end pitcher, why would you want to go pitch at Georgia in the smallest ballpark in the country? Like, why would you want to go pitch there in the smallest ballpark in the SEC? Like, why? Well, you have Georgia Tech right down the road in Atlanta. You have Alabama, you have Florida, you have FSU right in that same Miami. You have North Carolina in the same region. Like, why would you want to go pitch there? Like, it's the same conversation we're talking about. Yes, it's Wes Johnson. Like, I know I'm more in tap to that, but
I did not mean to click on that comment. Sorry.
But yeah, no, it's like I completely understand it. Like, why would you? Like, it's a very
it's not an insult or a shot at anybody on the team. It's just Michael Early is a hitting coach. The offense is electric. You see it this year finally. Like, same thing. Like, look, if you're a batter, if you're a hitter, right? You want to come play at Texas A&M over Texas. Like, you just do. You want to come play for Michael Early. You want to come hit the ball around the park. That's what you want to come do. Mm-hmm. Same thing for pitchers with Texas. Like, this team under Michael Early is going to be led by its offense. It just is for as long as he's here. It's going to be led by the offense. You do not have to have a Texas caliber pitching staff. You don't have to have a great pitching staff. You just have to have a decent pitching staff that can get you through most games without giving up over 10, 6 plus runs every single game. Like, you don't have to have an elite pitching staff. You just have to have a good one. That's why Texas doesn't need an elite offense. They don't, because their pitching staff. Hi, Dylan. Thank you. That's very funny. Texas does not need an elite offense, right? They have an elite pitching staff that they're kind of led by their starting pitching. So, yeah, I mean, it's the identity of the team. It's going to be led by the hitters, but we're not making any statements about what we think should be done with Jason Kelly or the coaching staff. What we are saying is that 70% plus of the pitchers that have been here in Michael Early and Jason Kelly's time have regressed, or they've been like this, which is not good enough.
Yeah,
so something's going to have to change.
I personally think like it all starts with who you've got on Friday. Like, I think Sims is a great pitcher. Is he a Friday night starter in the SEC? I don't know. I think so, but I don't know. I'm not saying you need a Dylan Volantis on this staff. I'm not even saying you need I'm not saying you need a Valinkis on your staff. I'm saying if you have a guy that you know every time you are going to get 5 innings of very good baseball, very good pitching, this whole outlook on this season is completely different. If you have a guy that you know, other than Sims, Sims is great, yes. If you have 2 guys that you know for sure are going to be able to get, like, yes, bad starts happen, but if they can get 5 innings at a minimum, this team has the limit to go to places that it was just at a couple of years ago.
Kayla, yeah, long comment. There's been a lot of A&M pitchers who have been draft picks, successful professional. Dude, like I hear, like again, like yes, but you know what's new is that you are competing against Max Weiner in Austin. Like you just are. They're recruiting similar
Mhm.
guys. Like you were going to get Sam Cozart and then you didn't, right?
Mhm.
Like because Max Weiner is in Austin. So as like guys, like it's do you want to come pitch for Jason Kelly or Max Weiner?
I think it's the question is that it's that simple. Do you want to pitch for Jason Kelly or do you want to pitch for Max Weiner? And I don't think it's like even close. Like I'm being like this is being like so for real. I'm not trying to pipe smoke up the wrong horn or anything.
Yeah.
Like it's night and day between Max Weiner, your arch rival, and what you have here. And yeah, whoever you hire next, it might be like it might slim in the gap. Yeah, it might whatever. But
Doesn't need
like
to be elite.
it doesn't need to be elite. You have the elite already, and it's in the batter's box. Like you have elite, and you will continue to have elite. Um, it's just you need like what we've discussed. It's just you're not good enough this on the mound right now. Can't do some of these guys. Do some of these guys have the potential of reaching it? Like some of the young guys I think have bright futures. Do I think whether that's at A&M or elsewhere? I agree. But like it's just not comparable. But once again, we're not trying to compare what we have with what Texas has because it's completely different situations. And it's been like that how even when Schloss was here, like yeah, that 2024 offense was great, but you had the dudes on the mound that made the whole team. That's the reason why they went so far. It's because your offense was elite and you had guys that were very well capable of getting the job done every time they went out there.
Again, it's about being able to win different games in different ways. And if you can't win low scoring games, you're not going to win the national championship because you're going to have days where you face an elite pitching staff where your offense isn't playing as well as they normally are. You're going to have days like that. And you're going to have to, and not only are you going to have days like that, you're going to have days like that where you have to win the game for your season to keep going. And if you can't do that, then you're not going to win. Caleb had one more comment. Yeah, so this was just, we were talking about Jason Kelly. He said, right back to the why keep doing the same thing if it's not working. Kelly has shown 2 years in a row that it's not working. I'd rather take a chance on a new guy and be wrong than just stay put. Yes, but pitching was not your problem last year. You could not hit the ball with a boat oar last year. That was the problem last year.
And tonight
you lost
pitching
games
wasn't
in the
the problem.
opposite way. Yeah.
Tonight pitching was the problem. Tonight you couldn't hit. So like we're yes this is we're looking at this holistically because the regular season and the conference tournament's out of the way, and we've got to save some stuff for our Monday and Tuesday show because
we've been going for a while.
yeah we've been going and understandably so. This is the worst loss since UCLA hands down. I completely agree. But yeah, like we know like what this team's capable of. We've seen it all year. Like if they're hitting the ball that day, it is hard to beat this team, especially at home. Like if A&M scores first, we talk about this ad nauseum. A&M gets a lead for that pitcher, then the percentage of winning skyrockets. It's not like it's marginal. It is way different from when this team scores first to where it is when they don't score first. But we say this all the time. It's not just like they're scoring one run first; they're scoring multiple runs in a crooked number first. So you're already digging this offense that's elite at a hole, and it is mental as a hitter. They say it on the broadcast. Like these broadcasts straight up, you can't get 5 runs with one swing. Well, when you're consistently in a 5-run hole or 4-run, whatever it is, and these hitters try to do too much, it's kind of like it's understandable at some point because it's been the problem when this team loses all year. Yes, they've only lost 14 games and we're kind of overreacting at this, but when they do, it's the same problem. So like we said, the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Like it's when they lose, it's been the same problem all the time.
Yeah, and like to add on, like mental as a hitter, like not even just game to game, but holistically, like if this team goes down, the offense goes. Whether they're not saying it out loud, but in their head, I guarantee you, they're saying, "Oh boy, here we go again. We got to score." And
Yeah,
that's
they're not.
why you see them. That's why you see them try to do too much, because they feel like they've got to score 5 runs every time they swing the bat. And also, like, again, like, how many times this year has A&M gone up and then lost the game? It hasn't happened very much. I mean, I can think of game 1 against Oklahoma where A&M went up 4-0 and lost, but this pitching staff plays better when they play with a little bit of a lead. And again, when the team is led by the offense, when you're led by something, that needs to happen, and that needs to happen first, and it needs to lead the team. If A&M scores first, they pitch better and they win the game. If A&M does not score first and they're in an early hole, they lose, and that's just how it's gone. So yeah, I mean, that's all I have to say for tonight. I think we'll do a little live show while the selection show is happening.
Yeah, if y'all, I'm down for that.
We'll react to what's
happening. We'll be watching it together. I'm assuming.
Yeah,
we'll both be in
town. We'll sit in the same frame and we'll talk.
Yeah, well, it'll be something different, but this team will be fine. Like, we overreact, and then this team comes out and plays very well the next time. So I think like we keep talking about, I know we keep saying this, but we feel very confident in this team in a super regional versus a regional. And if this team does play the minimum of 3 games to win the regional, you'd feel even better with your chances moving into that super. So it all depends on who you play, where you play, holistically. Like some people say, it doesn't matter who you play. It's all about yourself. Yeah, it does matter who you play. Like, I'm being so for real. Like, if we do match up as a 10 seed and it's Alabama, like, you feel confident in that because they're not the staff that you've seen in Florida. It's not the staff you see in Auburn, and they're not as good offensively as these teams before. So if you do see that in a super regional, you feel great. If you see UTSA and UC Santa Barbara in your regional, you do not feel great. I'm just going to put it out point blank. Like, it does matter who you play. Yes, it's a regional and you're more talented than these teams, but they have D1 hitters too. They have D1 resources. They're a D1 team that's very good, and we've seen Pat Hallmark do it over and over again where they go into he's very good in ranked games. Pat Hallmark is a good coach. And then you could match up with UC Santa Barbara and see the best starting pitcher in the nation. So, and he will be drafted as caliber as I'm projecting him. He will be the first college arm taken in this draft. So if you do get that matchup, yeah, it sucks. But yeah, we'll be in touch for Monday. We can do a little live reaction show if y'all are down. Like and subscribe, and we'll be here for Monday, and then we'll have our instant reactions for that, and then a little regional breakdown of whoever we're playing and the possible matchups that you will see.
Yeah, doing this show from my house on my laptop is like so different, and the Wi-Fi is not great, and so it's kind of tough. But yeah, we'll do a live reaction to the selection show, and then maybe Wednesday or whatever, when Tag and I are back in College Station, we'll do a live show to break down every opponent in the regional. We'll talk about pitching. We'll talk about what we think we're going to do with pitching, all that good stuff. So thank you guys very, very much for watching. This was our most people watching live that we've had so far. So thank you very much. We will be back on Monday. So yeah, thank you guys. Good night, and it'll all be okay.